Hey everybody, welcome back to another edition. It's edition, not another edition of Naked Sports. How you been, family? I hope you have been well. I have been pretty well. I had a great birthday month. My friends took really good care of me. My friends and my family took really good care of me, and I was really, really happy. And I was just telling people I feel more in touch with my tribe. Like, I know who my tribe is. And so I, as a result, wanted to just give a brief shout out to my girls, right? I don't want to forget anybody, but my best friend Kendra, Tommy, Bozema, Jamal, Kelly, Marcy, Fabiola. I had a beautiful crew of people who really, really nurtured me and took care of me during my entire birthday month. And I felt so grateful. You know how people say grateful and blessed, but I felt so loved, so blessed, so happy. It was such a euphoric feeling. And I really have been saying to myself, I can keep that feeling. I can keep my crew and my circle tight. I can protect that little precious part that I don't want to give out to everyone else. And as a result, it just makes me a better person. I'm happier, I'm lighter, I'm all of the things. And the reason why it meant so much to me now that I give it thought, and I don't normally do this, but I'm just giving you guys an update. This is a bit of an update / vent before we get into the podcast. But I'm giving you this message because it helped me as well. I know that we can control our surroundings. We can't control who we work with. We can't control what happens when you walk down the street, but we can control our intimate surroundings. We can create a little bit of heaven here on earth, I believe, especially during the times in which we live in today. And I felt that during this past month as I celebrated with my friends and family. It was very intentional how I celebrated. I was very vulnerable about wanting to celebrate with the people that I feel safe and loved with. And why I craved that, because it was a craving from my body. While I was craving that, I realized it was simply because I had been dealing with a lot of people in my life who were frenemies, and I didn't even know what it was. I didn't even know I was dealing with that. I didn't even know it was a term, y'all. So the other day on social media, not as if, all the wisdom is there, but I started to listen to Robert Greene, and he was on the podcast Diary of a CEO. We love that podcast. Shout out to my producer who told me about it, Jacquees, which she just reminded me. I'm like, yeah, you did. You turned me on to that. But anyway, Robert Greene, this is his discussion on frenemies, and I want you to listen to this. Robert Greene highlights how envy and hidden competitiveness can manifest in relationships disguised as friendships.
And then lo and behold, you start noticing all kinds of behavior that's very ugly that you weren't expecting because they're your friend. They start saying bitchy comments that get under your skin, that make you feel insecure. They take things from you. They act in ways that are hurtful. But because they're your friend, your first instinct is to blame yourself. Well, maybe it's my fault that they've done this. Maybe I'm actually to blame for what they're saying, etc., etc. So I believe behind the frenemies phenomenon is this phenomena of envy, where the person secretly wants what you have and they're becoming your friend so that they can wound you.
We simply call them haters today, right? But if you don't want to label something and you can tell something is off, like, there are people in your life that aren't necessarily haters, but something is off. It's a feeling that you get when you walk away. It is a feeling that I don't necessarily feel safe to share everything here, but yet I call you a friend and we are friendly and we hang out and maybe we vacation together. Who the heck knows? I don't know. But listen to this term. And I know you've heard it before, and I know you've heard people say so-and-so's a frenemy, but this is a technical term, and I want to give you the definition, textbook. These frenemies may appear friendly while secretly harboring resentment or jealousy toward the other person's success and or status, or looks or place in life. Robert Greene explains that this can lead to subtle acts of sabotage, devaluation of achievements, or emotional manipulation under the guise of friendship. Secret envy, passive aggression, overly eager friendship, information gathering, getting all in your business. Now, we all whether we know it or not, have interacted and or have someone who feels like a frenemy in our life. And the reason it's so important for me to talk about this now is because what I just experienced this past month with all my tribe and my friends and my family, that euphoria, I hadn't been dealing with that. I've been missing that. That's what my body was craving, because I realized in different circumstances, I had a lot of frenemies. And I don't know if these people are intentionally being frenemies. I don't know if this is something that people can identify readily within themselves. But what I was able to at least understand for me is that I ain't got to deal with it. I ain't got to deal with it. Meaning, you can create your own slice of heaven right here on earth. You can choose to interact when you're not at work, when you're on your off time, when you're in that precious relaxation time. You can pick and choose. You can curate an environment that feels safe and friendly. And I encourage everybody today to do that, to start doing that. Look at the world that we live in right now. And while you might be saying, Cari, this doesn't have to do with sports. Yeah, no, it's all the same. Sports, culture, politics, all of these things blend in with the daily lives that we lead. And what I am saying to you is that while we are out here navigating this world of sports, culture, and politics, and whatever it may be that you're navigating, make sure that you take a lot of time, and curate your own little slice of heaven with your tribe. It could be your family, it could be your family and friends, it could be one best friend, it could be whomever. But you make sure you find, if you're one, you're lucky, right? If you got more than one, you are blessed. And you find this tribe, and you make sure that you are vulnerable with them and you tell them what you need. And the reason why I'm saying it's so important to do it in today's society is because every time we turn on the TV or every time we turn on our phones, someone's fighting, someone's lying, someone's calling someone a name. This country is so polarized now. There isn't nuance. There is no such thing as nuance to any of our conversations. It's either you're on this side or that side. It's black and it's white. And that is just not how life is. People are more defensive. People think because you disagree with them that you might be in a class that's different than theirs, or you might be a Republican, or you might be a Democrat. You can't just be in society. And I feel it obviously a little more than other people. But what I have decided for me, and what I mean, I feel it a little bit more. I feel it in my workspace, obviously. I feel it in sometimes when I'm doing this podcast, depending on who I'm talking to. I have decided that because this is the world in which we live in, I have to create my own. I hear a lot of people talking about, I'm moving from America. I'm gonna go live in Portugal. I know I said that too. I went to Portugal. I'm not gonna move there though. But that was my thought process. I gotta get out of here. It's crazy. And it is. It's all of those things. And you can still believe that you need to leave this country, whatever. But in the meantime, it is imperative to have balance that allows you to feel safe and loved and protected. And if you don't have that, try to create it. But you don't have to. There's no rule in life that says you have to be friends with people who don't really like you. Like, all of us have had that one friend where you're like, gosh, Sheila loves hanging out with me, but I don't think she really liked me because she says these little digs and jabs that I don't know where they're coming from. She's calling me names or judging me, and I haven't really talk to Sheila like that. I don't know why she would say that. She doesn't have all the information. Hey, guess what? I too could be a frenemy in someone's mind. But I choose, if I don't like you, I don't want to hang out with you. I just remove myself from the situation. I wouldn't pretend to be your friend and take digs at you. I don't know what kind of crazy psychology that is. But here's the deal. You don't have to deal with it. In today's society, it is so important to have people around you that make you feel safe. Let's bring that back. Let's make that trending. Let's make that popular. And I say that because coming off of this past month and my birthday, I was like, oh, this is a life that I can live. This is something that I really enjoy. So it made sense to me while I was at work last week at CNN. I got into it with Scott Jennings in a way that I had never gotten into it with him before. And I normally don't allow him to bother me. I kind of laugh it off. I take the high road. I don't get into it. I ignore his little bitey comments. But this time, he really was just lying. And he always, in my opinion, doesn't tell the truth. But this time, he was being a real liar. And I said, as opposed to a not so real liar. And I said to him during commercial break, I was like, "You're such a liar." And I just was like, it just clicked to me. I was like, "You'll never tell the truth because you have a party line and you have a party message and you're doing a personal audition for the president of this country. And it doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter how I say it. It doesn't even matter if it makes sense to you or not. You are going to try your best to refute and or make me feel like I am not qualified. And it will only matter to the people who listen to you. They will believe you. Conversely, I posted him on my page and the people who follow me believe me. To my point, we are so divided in this society. But I said to myself, you know what? No mas. I'm not going to be on TV yelling at you, trying to convince you that Barack Obama's Nobel Peace Prize wasn't affirmative action. I'm just not going to do that. That's just silly. First of all, Barack Obama ain't been president for how long? Why are we still talking about this man? Why do we still talk about this man as if he's still the president? Why are you still criticizing this man? Who cares? He's not even president no more. He's somewhere on Martha's Vineyard golfing. And you're talking about whether or not his Nobel Peace Prize was affirmative action because Don Jr. said it. This is ridiculous. And I will not. I will not. I will not tolerate nonsense anymore, meaning I can pick and choose. I can still be just as effective as what I do on CNN without being on a round table with that man. I can be just as effective with this podcast and using my voice to platform people who are trying to do great things in today's society, whether that be talking about sports and or culture and or politics. So I will not. And I think that we should really, as a society, focus on the things that bring us joy when we don't have to be around the people that don't bring us joy. Meaning, you might work with some people and you don't like them as well. You know what I'm talking about. You might have a mother-in-law that you don't love so much, right? I'm making up something. But the reality is that we can create our own. I did that in real time without realizing I was doing that. And so I encourage you to disassociate with that frenemy. Don't allow yourself to be around the people that make you think about them at night if they are doing something inappropriate to you. If you feel that, if you're in company with people that you know don't really like you, you gotta ask yourself why. Life is too short. I can't sit around with people who choose not to like me for whatever reasons. Life is entirely too short. And there is so much going on in this world that we have to create an oasis. Otherwise, we're gonna lose our minds. Every morning we wake up, there's a new headline, there's a new scandal, there's a new argument on Twitter between Elon Musk and the president of this country. There's a new, and by the way, it's not new. We are all very aware of what is happening. But during this time, during this mess, it's important, more important, to have some people that really hold you down. A person, some people, a family, a friend. I don't know, maybe you need to make an AI friend. Who knows, right? Because a lot of people, I truly feel, are lonely and they don't know how to get out of this lonely space, so they're angry. And then that anger allows them to live in this space where they have to pick sides. We can find our heaven. I just did it at this big age. Didn't realize I could do it. And when I was listening to Robert Greene have that conversation about frenemies, it just translated to more than just friends. It's just people that are in your space. And you're like, this doesn't make me feel well. I might have to interact with them. I might have to work with them, but I am not going to give them any of my valuable time. The time that makes me feel sane and safe. The time that I'm going to give to those who actually care about me. In short, surround yourself. It could be one person, two people, your kids, right? It could be anything, but you do not have to tolerate people who don't like you or who take subtle jabs at you or who pretend to be in your world or society and pretend as if they like you. You do not. I feel like this is more common and people do not talk about it. And while I am venting, I'm getting this off my chest. But there is somebody listening right now like, no, I know I got 4 or 5 frenemies. I'm not talking to Jack no more. Or I'm just going to remove myself from Jack's presence. You know what I'm talking about. And it's okay to say no. That's not a bad thing. Go find your people. Speaking of finding my people, on today's podcast, because the podcast is going to begin now, that was my venting message that I approve of. But on today's podcast, we're talking about the WNBA. And I don't know if you know this, WNBA All-Star Weekend begins July 17th, 18th, and 19th. 3 days of festivities. The game will be on a Saturday night. The format, not necessarily the same as the NBA. But for some reason, there's a little scuttlebutt, a little scandal, a little brouhaha happening right now in the WNBA. You know, the format is to pick a team captain, one representing the East, one representing the West. The team captain representing the East this year, Caitlin Clark. The team captain representing the West this year, Napheesa Collier. Well, apparently, there are some within the WNBA atmosphere that are not happy that Caitlin Clark is a team captain during her sophomore year, right? She was a rookie last year. This is her second year in the league. She's team captain. Not her fault, because you know how they vote? Based on fan votes. She got the most fan votes. Record-setting fan votes. You can't be mad at what the fans want because the All-Star Weekend is truly for them. But some people are mad. And on today's podcast, we'll talk about the WNBA, why they're mad at Caitlin Clark for being the team captain and who exactly are they. And then also the WNBA is expanding. They're adding 3 more teams to bring the grand total to 18. What it all means after the break.
So it is my honor to officially announce that the WNBA is expanding from our currently announced 15 teams to 18 teams over the next few years. So on behalf of the entire WNBA, I'm thrilled to welcome Cleveland and Detroit back and to welcome Philadelphia officially to the WNBA.
So, first and foremost, let me just say thank you, Kathy Engelbert, for that information. Congratulations. There are 3 more teams coming to the W, making it a grand total of 18. That is amazing. That is beautiful for women's sports. I just want to be clear. If you hear me, that is amazing. I am happy that this is happening. It's going to give women more opportunities to play professional sports. And if there are more dollars, more revenue, more interest, all it can do is get bigger and better and expand. However, when announcing those teams, you dig a little, do a little research, and you notice they're all male owners. That's the first thing. NBA owners, if you will. And I think that's great because the inception of the league actually began in partnership with the NBA. So let me explain this so it doesn't sound weird. The league, WNBA, would not exist. I will be very honest with you. If the NBA did not lend a financial plan and resources, a financial plan, not with a D, and resources. So they thought it would be smart to take the Lakers, for instance, and say, let me give you a women's team because you already have an arena where they can play. You already have colors. You're an established franchise. Everything is already in place. We're just going to take the Lakers and do a model of what you all are doing with this franchise, and we're going to give birth to the Los Angeles Sparks. That's how it all began. And they did that with a few teams when the league started in 1997. Perfect. Great. Thank you. Now, it wasn't making money. It still isn't making money if we're being honest. But it is very popular and there is money to be made. So now that there's money to be made, they let the men buy in. All the men are buying in. What about the women? I wanna be a part owner of a WNBA team. I have $2 to add. And look, I'm not gonna complain. I understand. I am gonna complain. That's a lie. I understand that you need to have an owner that is obviously well-resourced because there's travel, facility, marketing, sponsors. How do you keep the team afloat? I understand that is necessary because you want to give each one of these new teams, these expansion teams, an opportunity to flourish. And I can't come in, Cari Champion can't come in with her $20 and say, I'm gonna build a team. I need to have some serious money. And the buy-in now is huge. It's really huge. I mean, listen to this. So, over the next 5 years, Cleveland will join in 2028. So that's a WNBA team in Cleveland, followed by one in Detroit in 2029, followed by one in Philly in 2030. The buy-in, if you wanted to bring a WNBA team to your town, $250 million. 250. Congratulations to the W. Congratulations to the value that these women are now starting to actually receive in terms of what they are worth. They won't see that money, but you understand the value of the team. Look, and as a reminder, the WNBA added a 13th team, the Golden State Valkyries, this season. You may have seen them and they're playing really, really well. While the Toronto Temple will be there next year, and then the Portland team will also join. So that'll be a grand total of 18 teams in the league. That is huge. Now, we've heard complaints from so many people that they're not allowing those who have supported the league all of these years to be a part of ownership. And I understand both sides. You need somebody with deep pockets to own a WNBA team, to keep up, to make sure that these women are flying private and have the best hotels and are getting the best and have the best facilities and the best trainers. But that money, that $250 million, the women are not seeing it. The players are not seeing that money. We all know that. They're making no money, if we're being honest. But the other rub is that there has been no real attempt, from my understanding, and I could be completely wrong, from my understanding, to make a group of women the majority owners. Everyone that I know that is a woman that owns one of these teams, whether they played in the league or not, has a percentage, a point here, a point there. Nothing wrong with that. But I would think if we're really trying to do this rah rah shish boom ba, I love women, we love women's sports, let's do this, you would bring women in, no? Is that just me? Well, of course not. Because that's not what it's about. It's about the bottom line. It's about making money. Now, today, all the NBA teams are interested in getting a WNBA team. Today. Not the case 5 years ago. I'm old enough to remember when the Los Angeles Sparks jumped from owner to owner to owner because each owner did not feel that there was value in these teams. Now they're fighting to own WNBA teams. Here's a short little lesson, and I don't even know if you remember this. Jerry Buss, who owned the Los Angeles Lakers, he was the very first owner of the Los Angeles Sparks. He owned, when the league started in 1997, he said, hey, I'll put my hat in. May he rest in peace, Jerry Buss. He sold the team in 2006. When he sold the team, and this kudos to you, Jerry, because you get what we were trying to do. When he sold the team, he sold it to an independent group of owners led by a woman named Kathy Goodman, and one of the women I've admired for many years in media, and her name was Paula Madison. So it was a group of women who actually owned that team from 2006 until 2014. So when the ladies sold it, they sold it to Mark Walters. Do you know who Mark Walters is? That's the guy who just bought the Lakers. So he owns the Lakers, he owns the Dodgers, and he owns the Sparks. That's deep pockets. If I was a player on the Sparks, I would think, great, we're gonna have the best facilities, we'll have the best accommodations, we'll have all of the things, because this man has a lot of money in deep pockets and huge partners, Magic Johnson being one of them. And I love all that. I love it. I love that you're investing in the WNBA. I love that you're still committed to making it great. But I also know that most of these people who own these teams don't even watch the W. They could care less. And that's really disappointing. It really truly is disappointing. And I say that because there are people who have worked all their life to build up women's sports, all of their life to build up women's sports. I think of someone like Lisa Leslie, who was one of the original players for the Sparks. She had a small percentage of ownership for a small time, like maybe a few years. I think of people who played in the league, like Dawn Staley. She'd like to own a WNBA team. I know that for a fact. And there is no real effort to allow the people who help build the brand, build the sport, keep it afloat in terms of their blood, sweat, and tears equity playing on the court. There's no real effort to reward them. And what I mean by that is that you clearly can't pay them. You still haven't been able to pay them. But why not allow them to feel some type of ownership in a league that they built from scratch and cared for? If you play in the W, you're playing because you love the sport. It's for the love. It's not for the money. You're doing everything possible, especially in the beginning years. They were playing in gyms. They get kicked out of the arenas. They were on buses. They were on public transportation, public flights with layovers, sometimes flights delayed, sleeping in airports. I mean, these women really love the sport. And I am just here to say that I wish that they could see some value in it in terms of money for themselves. Now, when we come back, we'll take a small little break. When we come back, I want to talk about Caitlin Clark. Speaking of the WNBA, speaking of that superstar, that supernova, Caitlin Clark is the captain, one of the captains for the WNBA All-Star Weekend, representing the East. Napheesa Collier representing the West. What does that all mean? And why are some folks not happy about it? Back in a moment.
It's cool that fans get to be a part of it and have a little impact on the game. And then I think also it's going to be really special to be able to do it here in this city. And I think, there's already been so much time and effort put in by so many people that, aren't going to get credit for what they did to bring All-Star here. So, trying to make it the best All-Star the WNBA has ever had. I know we'll certainly do that, but also, it is certainly a cool honor for sure.
WNBA All-Star Weekend beginning on July 18th, and the game is on Saturday the 19th. I just mentioned before the break, Napheesa Collier is the captain of the West. Caitlin Clark, captain representing the East. Clark received fan votes. Clark received a record-setting number of fan votes. 1.29 million votes. Basically, 1.3 million votes. 1.3 million people, I didn't even know that many people love the W. 1.3 million people said, we've got to see Caitlin Clark play. Second most votes went to Napheesa Collier, 1.17. Now, the question always comes up, especially when it's Caitlin Clark. Is she that good? Do people really like her? Are they weaponizing her? Is she really representing sports, or is it an idea that this country wants? Why are people just now getting interested in sports, or WNBA for that matter, just because of Caitlin Clark? I hear these questions. We did a long series. Go back and listen to it. I always tell people to do it. But Caitlin Clark, she is just a supernova. Someone has to come along and be that one. It's happened in every sport. It happens in every industry. You have to have that one who sets the standard, who the tide rises with them, the person that people are attracted to. In college, Caitlin Clark, as we all know, was a superstar. People would drive for hours to see her play basketball because she would literally hit the logo and drop a three. How could you do that so easily, so effortlessly? And she did it consistently day in and day out. All the time. She became a traveling superstar in terms of people would go, oh, is Caitlin Clark in town? I heard I want to go see the girl who plays for Iowa, who drops threes like Steph Curry. People had heard about her, but didn't really know if she would live up to all these expectations, all the hoopla, if you will. And she did. And not only did she take all of her fans from college and bring them to the W, she also created a movement. And so, yes, there's some resentment because the W has been around since 1997. And it took this long this long, 20 some odd years, for people to start really paying attention. I won't say she is the only reason why people are paying attention to the WNBA, but I will say she introduced the WNBA to an entirely new fan base. And those fans voted for her. And those fans wanted to see her in the game more than anyone else. And the way the votes work, the fan votes in particular, they determine who will be the team captains because they are the most popular people. Those two players, Caitlin Clark and Nafisa Collier. Now, here comes the rub. They have a tendency to do this. They let you know how many fan votes you got, how many media votes you have, and how many player votes you received. And usually the players vote based on who they think is the best. They really do. It would be no surprise to you that Caitlin Clark came in 9th with the players, meaning there were 8 other players better than her, according to the WNBA players in the league. She's not perfect. There's a lot about her game that needs to be fixed. She rushes the ball. She moves too quickly. She needs to settle before she takes certain shots. I think she complains too much on the court, right? We can say that. And she arguably is not the best point guard. She's just not. That makes sense to me, right? But what doesn't make sense is this hint of, I'm upset that she's the captain because she's only been in the league for 2 years.
Caitlin Clark began this year incredibly strong, but unfortunately injuries got in the way. And if it were not for it being in Indianapolis, I would probably be a person to challenge and say, maybe a reserve, but it's difficult to say that somebody should probably be a captain when they've missed a certain amount of games this year. And I just want it to be known that it's, to me, based off of that I would say for any other player in any other team or on any other city in which the All-Star is being held, I think that would be a factor. But the fact that it's being in Indy, she's the most popular player in Indy, she has the most popular fan base, it makes total sense that she's a captain, and I really didn't foresee it going any other way.
And while they're being politically correct, there's a bit of resentment. I think that's okay. I think it's okay. I think it's okay not to like Caitlin Clark or to feel some sort of resentment towards Caitlin Clark. I think all of that is okay. You know why? Because we do not require it of the men. We do not require that the men be best friends. We do not require that they like each other. In fact, we complain that the NBA is too friendly now and they all are hanging out and they're buddies. So why does this make so many of these new fans upset, as if there is a conspiracy theory to gang up on Caitlin Clark and not like her and take her down and remove her from the league? It's just not the case. It's sports. It's competitive. If they don't like each other, that's fine. In fact, I think it's great. In fact, I think it's better for the league. I just do. I'm tired of people complaining about women not being nice on the court. You guys see that TikTok video the other day? Coco Gauff and Sabalenka. And Sabalenka said something to the effect of, "We're good now, guys, so you should be too," while they're dancing and doing their TikTok dance. Why would Roger Federer and Rafa Nadal ever do a TikTok video together when they were at the height of their competition, when they couldn't stand each other? Would they ever? No. Let me be more clear. Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic definitely didn't like each other, and it was known. And no one said, "Hey guys, come together and shake hands," so people aren't upset. Magic Johnson couldn't stand Larry Bird. They were competitors. Off the court, maybe I'll say hi to you, but there was no uproar like, y'all should get along. What Magic said about Larry was mean. This is crazy. I said it out loud. This is crazy. We do not care if the men don't like each other. Why do we care so much that people don't like Caitlin Clark and are upset? Why do we care? I mean, I don't care. I'm asking you. I am so sick and tired of trying to make peace in a game that doesn't deserve peace. It's competition. I don't like you. You don't like me. You have something I want. I'm going to take it. I think I'm better than you. You're not as good as me. I know 10 more players better than you, and I'm going to tell you why. That, to me, sounds like sports. Sounds like competition. So here we are having the age-old debate of whether or not Caitlin Clark is liked because she is white. The age-old debate of why other players who are better than her are not getting the same attention. The same debate over whether or not she's friendly. Is Angel Reese friendly? No, she's the villain. We know that, right? That will already be the case, right? Angel Reese is the villain. That story has been written. But is she? She's just honest. She just says what she feels. If you want to do comps, she reminds me of Draymond Green. You all may not like Draymond, but the vitriol that Angel gets could be the equivalent, if not more than what Draymond gets at his height. Remember he socked his teammate? People were trying to take him out then. You would think Angel Reese came on the court and socked Caitlin Clark the way you guys hate on her. You would think she punched her in the face like Draymond Green did. Like Draymond Green did. She did not. And I think it's ridiculous. I think it's so ridiculous that we are not allowing these women in this new fragile state that they are in to just enjoy the sport. We're not allowing them to have their own personalities. We're not allowing them to fight and talk trash. I love it watching when they talk trash. I like to see them lose their mind. I like to see them throw the ball. I want to see all of that because it means you care. We have got to let these ladies play. I started the podcast complaining about the gatekeeping because the men are now the owners of the WNBA and only interested because there is money there. Unfair. Women are being left out who started the sport to be unfair. And then I slide into what's going on with these new expansion teams. And then I slide into what's going on with Caitlin Clark and why people are upset about the all-star game because she is a captain. They think too soon. She's a supernova. Accept it. And I'm not saying that she plays this way, so let me be very clear. But every now and again, there has to be a face of a league. Baseball, basketball. It has to be a face of a sport. Tennis, soccer. I named all those sports, and right away you thought about somebody who was the face, the most popular person, the name that you knew that was synonymous with said sport. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Messi, Roger Federer, Rafa Nadal, Novak Djokovic, Serena Williams. They're just people who are. And the chosen one just so happens to be a white woman. And people are up in arms because of that. In both ways. Up in arms because she's getting all the attention on a league that is 70% black. Up in arms because they think she's being picked on and they're defending her. Up in arms because she's getting more money than players have ever seen their entire life who built the league. Not her fault. Anything. None of this is her fault. None of it. So if we could settle and allow the sport to be a sport where we just watch it and enjoy it, it'll be a good life for us. I understand the argument of why some people are upset that she's a team captain. It's not really valid, though. It has nothing to do with you. The fans chose her. I would feel away, especially if I feel like I'm better than her. But that is not her fault. It just so happens she was the chosen one. And we have to accept it. We just gotta. All-Star Weekend, July 18th, 19th, and 20th. I always get my dates wrong. I'm glad that you guys are here with me. So as you are watching, I'm looking to make sure that I got it right in my calendar here. I'm going, I think. I'm not for sure. You all should go, though. It's in Indiana. Oh, gosh, of course it's in Indiana. 18th, 19th, and 20th. Yes, correct. That is All-Star Weekend. It's in Indiana. You should definitely show up. It's going to be a good time. I do not, and I repeat, I do not want anybody in my messages talking about why I got to be in Indiana, where Caitlin Clark is from, where she plays. Why I got to be there? Because she's the star. That's where the fans are. 1.3 million voted. They're all traveling to Indiana to see her. That's why. That's why it's in Indiana. Okay? I'm being silly, but I'm also saying relax. Just relax. It is what it is. And then another superstar will come along. We got Juju coming. I'm so excited about Juju Watkins coming. She'll be the star. We have Paige Beckers in the league. She's not getting as much attention as Caitlin is, but she's also a starter in the All-Star weekend. Paige Beckers is lights out. She's figuring it out as a rookie. But right now, all eyes are on Caitlin, and that's just what it is. She's the hot girl in the room with the little black dress on, and all the fellas want to talk to her. She's the popular kid at school that had all the new electronics and had all the Game Boys and toys, or who has the best lunch, and she's trading her stuff out with other people because people just want to be around her. It's her. She's it for now. That doesn't mean she's the best player. That doesn't mean she is wrong for existing. It just is what it is. These are the circumstances, and you can't take that out on her, even though people will, and people are upset. It has nothing to do with her. The people have spoken. 1.3 million, in fact. All right, let me get off my high horse. I want you guys to check out All-Star Weekend. If you don't, definitely watch the game on TV. That's Saturday, July 19th. It's going to be a really good game. I think what I learned last year watching the All-Star game was that the new fans that have now started to watch the W have made me more interested, because these wild takes of who they think is great and who are these players. It's great. I love it. They give me all the storylines. But you should watch this weekend. There's a lot happening. The weekend of July 18th, 19th, and 20th. There's a lot happening. We have a 3-point contest, which is going to be great as well. We have the game, and then we have the festivities. The ladies get dressed. They try to be sassy. These WNBA players, let me just take a note. They look good. They are dressing. I mean, I love to see it. How much it's evolved. These ladies are out here. They're famous. They know who they are. People are standing in line to say hi. People are like, can I get your autograph? I want to grow up and be just like you. It's a beautiful thing, because it'll trickle down in other areas. It's a beautiful thing. Tune in, watch, support. Try to keep it not so negative, okay? Let's try to enjoy the sport. And let's not wish that these ladies were best friends, right? Let's just enjoy the sport and let them be them. How about that? Fancy. Here's a fancy thing. Let them be them. Crazy. I'm old enough to remember when we didn't like LeBron. Y'all remember that, right? But LeBron did some things. There were reasons to not like LeBron. Well, I didn't like him because I was a hater. But there were other reasons not to like LeBron. I was just a pure hater, right? Just I don't want you to take over Kobe's spot. I hate you. We laugh about that. But let these ladies play. And at the end of the day, we're going to be able to reap so many benefits for this. From this moment on, honestly, women are going to see a lot of strides. If you can see them in sports in real ways in terms of equity and movement and respect, it will somehow find its way into society. Somehow, some way. So, support Caitlin Clark. Support Rafisa Collier. Support Angel Reese. Let these ladies play. Thank y'all for listening to the podcast. I'll be back next week.